Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a very exciting video because I've been requested to record this for some time now, and I'm just now coming upon my year anniversary of being a children's library page at my job, and middle grade is one of my favorite genres, but I never really talk about it. I never really recommend it because even though it's my favorite, I don't tend to read a lot of it. But we're coming upon my year anniversary of being a library page, and I wanted to celebrate that by bringing out these book recs. No need to thank me, no need. I believe wholeheartedly that everybody, no matter what age, should be reading middle grade books. These books that I'm going to be recommending specifically are not my entire middle grade collection. These are books that have somehow, some way either changed my life or changed my brain chemistry in terms of me as a person, or my curiosity, or my goals in life, my ambitions in life, the things that I desire. These are books that have kind of drastically impacted those things for me, and just like my understanding of the world. Some of these are books that I've read as I've grown up. Some of these are books that I read last year, this year, things like that. So I don't have too big of a stack today, so hopefully this video won't be very long, but I do have some books on here that I'm going to be yapping about, waffling on and on about. I'm just warning you. Like I was saying, I truly believe that middle grade should be being read by readers of all ages, because it's just one of those genres that have so much thought and care put into it because of the audience that it's written for. It's written for younger kids, younger teens, and children. So it's one of those genres that have a lot of thought and care put behind it. Lots of times the themes being explored in middle grade are sometimes dark or sometimes very profound and life-changing, but still being explored so simply because it's written for children. Hey, another thing I wanted to really point out within this video and about the themes that middle grades tend to revolve around is truth. Truth is a very big theme within middle grade, and specifically children telling the truth and believing children. A lot of the plots in middle grade books somehow encompass human truth and adults not believing children, children trying to warn adults about dangerous situations, anything with children trying to tell the truth and not being believed. That's a really big theme surrounding a bunch of middle grades. Honestly, almost 80% of the middle grades that I've read somehow deal with children truth specifically. Y'all need to start believing children, quite frankly. Back to the regularly scheduled program. Middle grades tend to be layered and riddled with themes. So today I'm going to be recommending books that fall into those types of middle grade, because that's mainly what I read when it comes to middle grade. I love a good, simple, cozy book that has themes on themes within it and layers on layers within it. And so we're going to start off with that book for me. My middle grade book, like this book is genuinely my favorite middle grade book, at least as of right now. This is my favorite middle grade book of all time, because this book just, I don't know guys, this book just did so much for me. I read it last year and it was one of my favorite books of last year. The Ogres and the Orphans by Kelly Barnhill. Girls, why am I tearing up? Okay. I just wanted to like suck the marrow out this story and out of these characters, out of this book, because it just did something for me. I genuinely savored every page of this book. It was so delightful and cozy and like slightly whimsical, but so real and raw to me for some reason. Let me give you a synopsis first before I get into yapping about why I love this book and how much I love it. This book is about these orphans that are staying in this orphan house in this town, Stone in the Glen. It used to be such a lush and vibrant neighborhood. Like everybody was so friendly to each other, everybody was so kind to each other, and there was so much good within the neighborhood. But they end up getting this new mayor, and all of it slowly starts to go away. A famine-like situation starts to take root within this community. Everybody's just really on hard times and are struggling to get by, and of course there's a lack of kindness, there's a lack of care, and there's a lack of creativity. As well, their neighborhood library has burned down, and on the outskirts of this neighborhood there's an ogress living there, which is basically this giant troll creature. If you have read the BFG by Roald Dahl, that's kind of the same vibe as the ogress is in this book, but this ogress is actually made from stone, and she is just such a gentle character. She's literally a big friendly giant. She grows this garden that she's using to help the town get by because nobody in the town can really afford food. So the ogress has this huge garden that she's using to feed the town members. And she just genuinely loves this town. Nobody really pays attention to the ogress. Nobody really cares about the ogress. And what she's doing is kind of anonymous to this town. But one day, an orphan from the orphan house goes missing and the town blames the ogress. The orphans in the orphan's house are the only ones that kind of know that the ogress cannot be behind the disappearance of one of the orphans, because they know that she's the one secretly giving the town food, that she's the one that's been baking pastries for the town. But of course, because they're children, the adults of the town, and because the adults of the town are blinded by their own misguided belief and their own anger, they don't believe what the children are saying or the truth that's in front of them. I'm not going to say anything more than that because I don't want to spoil any of the nice reveals that were going on within this story. But this book is just posing so many questions, so many wonderful questions in such subtle ways. It's a book that's asking, what is being a good person? What does it mean to be a lovely person in a loveless world? What does loveliness and goodness look like in a town that's kind of void of those things? How does loveliness and goodness return when it's kind of been lost? What does it mean to be giving? And how much do you expect a person to give, if you get what I mean by that? To its core, this is a book about kindness. This is a book about truth, as well as the abuse of those two things and the abuse of people that are those two things. The ogress, y'all. The ogress. Have I ever truly been seen by a character like I felt with this character? This book kind of broke me a little bit because reading about the ogress was very harrowing and very heartbreaking. Like my heart ached while reading this book. It did. She's such a character that gives too much and gets too little. And throughout the book, you just want her to stop giving to this town. You're just like, girl, let it go, girl. Let it go. Stop. But it's so much of her personality to be a giving person. It's so much of her personality to care for people and to give as much as she can and as much as they'll accept. But at the same time, nobody's giving to her. And especially nobody's just giving out of the kindness of their heart. The people that do end up giving, give because they realize that they've gotten. If you're picking up what I'm putting down. But it's such in her personality to give and make people gifts, and holy moly, it's such a good book. It's such a good book. Her main friends within this book are actually the crows, and within this book the crows have a saying that they believe in: no good deed goes unpunished. And the whole book and the whole moral surrounding this book kind of revolves around, in some ways, proving that saying right, as well as proving that saying wrong. It emphasizes that goodness is still goodness, regardless of the outcome of that goodness. Goodness still matters, regardless of if you get punished for it or if you're not acknowledged for it. The fact that you've done something good and that you've been kind still has the power to literally shake foundations of communities. You know what I mean? Regardless of anything, it still has that power. This is also such a book about storytelling and such a book about libraries. The only remnants of the library that burnt down is within the orphan house, and it plays a huge role into the story that I won't really tell you about because I kind of feel like that's spoiler territory. But so much about the power of storytelling, so much about how books and stories and libraries can fuel that kindness and fuel that creativity and fuel that curiosity that literally holds communities together. It's such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful book. If you don't read anything from this recommendation list, please read this book. Please. It's an amazing book. This is for sure, at least from everything that I've read up until now, this is my favorite middle grade book of all time. Then we have a pretty recent read of mine. I read this in October of last year. Ophie's Ghost by Justina Ireland. This is a book about a young girl named Ophie who used to live in this small Georgia countryside, but she ends up moving to Philadelphia with her mother after her father's death. And there's this whole incident that happens the night of her father's death that ends up burning down her house in Georgia and killing her father. Ever since that night, Ophie has been able to see ghosts. So her and her mother are going to work at this house owned by these rich white people during the Jim Crow era. Secrets are being uncovered and Ophie is kind of going about life as like a 13-year-old girl. That's kind of all I'm gonna say about the story. It's such dreary winter vibes within this book. It's so good. The aesthetic of this book is so good, but also this book has a little bit of magical realism and covers race and especially the Jim Crow era very, very well, in my opinion, in a way that's very real and raw, but also very palatable because it is written for younger audiences. It's not too scary or gruesome or overwhelming for younger kids to read. So if the kid is the same age as Ophie, like 11, 12, 13 and up, they can definitely read this book. But also I feel like adults should be reading it. Another pretty recent read of mine. I read this in December of last year. Moominland Midwinter by Gavinston. This is a book about this troll that's called a Moomin troll, and this is an 8-book series about this Moomin troll family. But this book specifically, Moomins are all hibernating creatures, but for some reason Moomin troll wakes up during the winter and he can't fall back asleep, and the whole book is kind of him experiencing winter for the first time ever and seeing all the snow, seeing all the like emptiness and feeling very lonely. This is definitely a book that can easily explain like seasonal depression to somebody because Moomin definitely has his low moments, but the whole book is about him experiencing all of the joys and all of the barrenness and emptiness of winter and of snow and of everything beautiful and tragic that comes with winter. I love winter so much, so I ate this book up. There's such a beautiful nature descriptions and depictions within this book. I'll kind of let the book speak for itself. The world's asleep, Moomin troll thought. It's only I who am awake and sleepless. It's only I who have to wander and wander day after day and week upon week until I too become a snowdrift that no one will even know about. So the book is like also exploring like creatures that are awake during winter, how lonely it feels because you are the only creatures awake during winter. It's just such a beautiful naturey book to me, but also it's just a fun, cute adventure of this troll. Then we have an old favorite of mine, Out of My Mind by Sharon Draper. This is a book about an 11-year-old named Melody who is in this gifted class, and she has photographic memory, but she's paralyzed. She can't walk or talk, but she's incredibly intelligent. It's a great book about disability. It's a great book about discrimination when you are disabled, especially physically disabled. It's kind of following Melody in her journey of trying to make friends and trying to show that she's smart when she can't talk, walk, or write. So good, but it's also so heartbreaking, and it also kind of makes you want to cry. It's such a good book. This is such a good book to read. Like I said, no matter what age you are, because kids can learn a lot from it, because kids can be jerks, bruh. But adults can be too. I'm not gonna say too much about this because I feel like literally every little thing is a spoiler because it is kind of a slice of life story, and I don't want to accidentally spoil anything, but I loved this book for years and years when I was younger. So go read it. Then I have one that I'm going to talk about, but I'm really holding this up to talk about the author in general. Matilda by Roald Dahl. I loved this man down. Once I hit 4th grade, I ended up reading his entire backlist because I was obsessed. Matilda was one of my favorites. This may be like my 4th favorite, maybe my 3rd favorite. My 1st favorite is The Witches by Roald Dahl. It is a book about, it's been a little second since I've read these, so give me a second now. This boy has been raised by his grandmother basically, and all his life his grandmother had been telling him these kind of folkloric stories surrounding witches. And one day they end up going to this hotel. I don't really remember why they were at the hotel, not gonna lie. But anyway, while they were there, he ends up walking in on this convention, or sneaking into this convention, and finding out that he's in a hotel full of witches that have been disguising themselves as normal. And it's so creepy and entertaining. I remember just binging this book. Like, I was obsessed with this book. Y'all don't know, like, Roald Dahl had me in such a chokehold. My 2nd favorite, similar to the Ogres and the Orphans, is the BFG, about this gigantic, gentle creature that's just so friendly to everybody, and that's made friends with this little girl. And then Matilda is about a bookworm who's kind of like looked down upon by her family. She's very lonely within her family life. She ends up going to this charter school that her dad sends her to, and meeting a woman named Miss Honey, who is her teacher and who is the only person that really sees Matilda's potential and intelligence. All of Roald Dahl's stories is so creative and so like sweet and gentle. I love them dearly. They will forever have a special place in my heart. Another author I was genuinely obsessed with, Carmen Alexander. This is a poet actually, but they are novels written in poetry format. Solo is about this musician, his kind of coming of age story. If you are a black man or if you have a black son, you need to put him on these books, or you need to read these books yourself, because the way that these capture like black boy teenagehood, oh, too good, too good. This one is following a musician who kind of has this deadbeat dad. Is kind of going through it with his girlfriend. His girlfriend is literally a loser. I hated her so bad. And experiencing high school, just kind of a slice of life, but also there's a point to the story, and it's coming of age. It's so good. This one, especially during this time period that we're in right now, I highly suggest. This is a book about a baseball player and his best friend. And again, a slice of age during a time of like some political uproar. This book kind of has more of that than Solo. Solo doesn't really have any of that at all, but Swing definitely does. And it is a little rough in some areas, so that's why I say 13 and up. Solo, maybe 13 and up as well, because of his dad specifically and the lore behind his dad. For Carmen Alexander, I would say 13 and up, but black teenage boys especially should read these books by him. Another book that had me in a chokehold when I was in 4th and 5th grade, The Phantom Tollbooth by Norton Juster. This was so good to me. This is about a boy named Milo who finds this mysterious package in his room one day, and it's a phantom toll booth, and he ends up going into it to set on this voyage to a weird world beyond, where he meets this witch and all of these different characters, but especially his watchdog Talk. This is one of the books that kind of fueled my curiosity when I was younger. It's riddled with metaphors and similes. The House with Chicken Legs by Sophie Anderson. I ended up reading this a couple autumns ago, and it is about a girl named Marinka and her grandmother. It's a Baba Yaga retelling about this walking house, and her grandmother has the job of escorting people to the afterlife. It's pretty difficult for Marinka because she knows that one day she'll have to take this role, as well as continue living in this house that walks around the world. Never settling down to having any friends, never really going to school, and never really just being a kid, you know. It's really a good book about loneliness, especially loneliness when you're young. And Slavic folklore is what Sophie Anderson really does with the majority of her books. Get into her entire backlist, because all of her books in some way have some type of folkloric retelling within it, and it's so good. She does such a good job retelling folklore stories. It's a cozy read. This is another very wintry read as well. There's an ongoing theme here. Can you guys tell what time of year I'm typically provoked to pick up a lot of middle grade? It's such a good story. It's so fun and so easy to read and so cute. But like I said, it also has those themes surrounding loneliness and surrounding family and the love of her grandmother. Family and love, especially when you have a small family. So I really enjoyed this one as well. Y'all knew it was coming. Mr. Limoncello's Library by Chris Gavinston. So Mr. Limoncello's Library is kind of about this big, epic sci-fi game that's going on inside of this high-tech library, where the librarian, Mr. Limoncello, is kind of running this game to see which kid is gonna win. It's just such a fun book. Like, it's such a fun book. This one doesn't really have any deep meanings. It's just literally a fun time and adventurous. It paints libraries in such a nice way, because it kind of brings to life all that books do. It brings to life the imagination aspect of reading, and I love, 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 love books like that. So, last but not least, my two favorite picture books. One being science related, one being library related. Of course, because it's me you are talking about. What's in Your Pocket by Heather L. Montgomery is a picture book about, it's kind of a history lesson mixed in with the encouragement of curiosity. It is talking about gathering things while you're outside, and how different scientists had the habit of bringing random things inside that they ended up studying later on in their life. And just about how small curiosities can literally propel your life forward. And it's about all different types of scientists, but it's just about curiosity and how curiosity can fuel your life and propel your life into great things. And I loved it so much. I recommend this book to everybody. I will read this book to as many kids as I can. Stacy's Remarkable Books by Stacey Abrams. Another super cute book. This one is about this bookworm named Stacy, who just loves to read and spends like all her time at her school library, and how the library kind of gives her all of these different friends, and how being in the library makes other people curious on what she's reading, and how she starts to meet more kids and starts to have more friends because of her love for the library and because of her love for books. It's so sweet. It's so sweet. I also love the art in this book. Oh, stop it. Stop it. Oh my god, it's so adorable. Those are all of my middle grade and children's book recommendations. I definitely see myself making more parts to this video in the future, because like I said, one of my favorite genres. If you have some life-changing, earth-shaking, like perspective-shattering middle grade book recommendations, please let me know. I have so many on my TBR for this summer, but I'm always looking for more books to read. So let me know. I hope you found something new to read from this video. I hope you found something new to recommend to some young folk in your life. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you guys in my next video very, very soon. Bye.